Hello, folks and friends. Hope you are doing well on this first day of November, which for me means that we're rolling into the holiday seasons. Yes, excuse me. Yesterday was Halloween. Today is Day of the Dead. And of course, there's plenty of sweets around the house, which I can't eat. Talk about frustrating. Well, it's a really cold, rainy day here. The rain just came barreling in this morning. It was not as bad as last week, but it is still wet. Let me turn the camera around, see if you can get a good shot of us. Yeah, at least the wind is not blowing. Put this back. Oddly enough, when it rains, my my sinuses clog up. I start to cough, and I have to drink a lot of water or a lot of teas, which will allow us to segue into our short topic today: plants to use on a wet and cold, rainy day. Now, I grew up in the Central Valley, which has a lot of cold and wet, rainy days. And my mom always had something for us to warm up, some sort of drink. So I'm going to talk about my favorite drink. This was a drink made with, write this down, friends, cinnamon sticks, pineapple chunks, pinches of cayenne pepper, a little bit of sugar, not too much, a little bit of salt, and then you boil the heck out of it. Let me tell you. And the smell of it would just go through the house, into the back of the house where my room was, and I could smell it. And I would come floating out. It was so good. When my dad would come home from the fields, he would pour a great big mug, and I was already sipping on mine. And it just allowed your body to warm up very quickly. And if you've been very busy, if you've been working hard outside, and God knows my dad did, or all his faults, he would, hey, Joe, yes, we have rain. Uh, we have whiskey, but I'm saving it for wounds on my body. That's my old friend, Joe Deer Runner Schilling. Uh, and so that comes up first in my heart and my mind. Another thing is just plain old spearmint tea. Now, I don't know if it was the fresh tea out back mom would gather, or her hands, or the pot she made it in. But when you weren't feeling well, if you had a kind of a malaise in you, that that drink would just perk you up. It would help bring down fevers, okay. But it had to be the fresh stuff. Joe is letting us know that they had winds just like we did. We were afraid, Joe, that our two trees out front would snap. That's how bad that we got it. Um, now, among the drinks that Mom would make was, of course, hot chocolate. There is a type of hot chocolate that will come in these hard rounds. There are two major brands, but they're basically the same. And you would break them up, get a sledgehammer, we'll work on those, and you would pour them into hot milk. And then slowly they would melt in there. Now, the more you add, the darker it does not become. So the side of it does not tell you how rich it is. And that drink, again, added with some stick cinnamon, which it doesn't really need because it has a lot of that ingrained in it already. If you can use that, again, you have a very warming drink. It'll give you a nice lift. You'll feel good. It's good for getting up in the morning. Got to go to school, got to go to work. This is almost as good as a mug of coffee. And though I don't drink as much of it as I did because of my diabetes, I will at times add it to some coffee. And then I'm up and out, feeling hot, feeling good. So I guess you could call that an herb. Comes off a tree, yeah. What else did Mom like us to drink? Something that didn't taste good. I'm working towards it. No, most of them did. She would at times brew up orange rinds. And this was primarily a medicine. Of course, these were usually dried, not always. And it would clear your chest. There was a bitterness to them. And sometimes it would actually help you digest food. So you do a nice hot cup. You could add a little bit of sugar to it, a little honey. You would add honey if you had a cough. Excuse me. Another thing that you could use for a cough is slices of lemon in a mug of hot water with maybe a teaspoon of honey, maybe just a tad more. Just swirl that in there, start to chug it down. When I was sick most of September, and I just had that hacking cough, that was one of the few things that really settled it, especially at night. It helped so much. I liked it. There were some good memories attached to it, and even uh, allopathic doctors, some who are honest, say, "Yeah, my grandma, my mom, and I use it. Why? Because it works." So think about that. Think about how easy and how good it tastes. Uh, think also about hot lemonade. I I know that my mom didn't make it too often, but when I had my own kids, made it quite a bit. Cut back on the sugar a bit, and just serve that piping hot, and it'll clear your head, your nose, uh, your throat. There are companies that sell packets of lemonade, but without sugar, and it tastes just like a lemonade. So you can have it hot or cold. Of course, this year, a lot of it's hot, and it just makes you feel good. Keeps your chest clear, your throat clear. I can't give you a brand name because I forgot it, but you can find it online. And so get a box, check it out, and see if it makes you feel better. I'm going to bet you it does. We're coming on maybe 12 and a half minutes, so I want to keep this short. Sometimes if you have a really severe bronchial congestion, you may want to do something drastic, which means add pepper to add your own, either a drink or foods. I'd go the food route myself because we ate a lot of rice and beans, and I would give $100,000 just to taste Mom's rice and beans again. Um, you could add that, and again, that will literally clear you out either one end or the other, and you'll feel much better. You'll feel um, well. You can breathe. I know that there are some folks who um, have actually snorted that stuff. Now, when I first came out of the closet as an herbalist, Joe, one of the things that we did was to sniff a line of cayenne, mostly just to say that we could. Uh, they made tough herbalists in those days. But I had an assistant who had uh, plugged sinuses for almost 2 months, and she had been given all types of antibiotics and such, and they weren't working. She was quite sick. So during the class, she volunteered to show how it was done. So we laid out a line of cayenne powder. I went out in the back to my bedroom and I got $100 bill, rolled it up. Got to do this right, folks. And she did a line, and as God is my witness, she went through the door. We could hear her running down the street, and she gave out a yell, and then later she came limping back in, and she did the other line. And oh lordy, the infected goo that came out of her sinuses was sickening. But she could breathe, and she's never been that congested again. So it can be used. It's a good, tough medicine for good, tough people. So that's it. Uh, I hope you're all well. I hope you're happy. And next week, there'll be another episode. Hope you will drop in, watch it, say hello. Joe, say hi to Christy and to the puppy for me. Oldest puppy in the world. Okay, folks, take care. Bye-bye. Love y'all.